everybody. Welcome to the Human Design Platform, a place where you can explore the fascinating world of human design and discover your unique blueprint to personal alignment. My name is Slondile Tshabalala and I am your human design guide. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Human Design Platform podcast. Yay! I am super thrilled to be here bringing you this information on the podcast. We have a website that has been running for over 2 months already, where we share this transformative knowledge of human design through blog articles. And we thought, why not have a podcast? So here we are. We also appreciate the fact that not everybody has time to sit down and read through the blog, and other people absorb information better when they listen to it or when they see somebody delivering the information. So that informed the decision to have a podcast. I keep saying we because it feels like there is the Human Design Platform and there is myself, Slondile Tshabalala. So it feels awkward to say I when there is an independent platform and then myself. But essentially it is just me running the platform. In this episode, we are getting to know the human behind the Human Design Platform. Myself, where I've been, who am I, what I'm doing, and how did the Human Design Platform come about. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get to the episode. So Slondile Tshabalala is a lady from a small town called Mandeni in KZN, which is one of the provinces in South Africa. I was born, bred, and raised there. In Mandeni, I went to primary school called Mhlubulweni Primary School in one of the villages. Did my primary schooling there, and then I went to do high school in a boarding school called Mlokoto High School in Guanangoma, still in KZN. Did my high schooling. After that, I went to the Durban University of Technology, where I did my tertiary education in maritime studies. So I did maritime studies, and after that in 2011 I went on to do an internship with one of the organizations in the maritime industry in Pretoria. Did that for a year, and afterwards it was time for me to go do the cadetship. Cadetship is more like internship in the maritime industry. We just call it cadetship. So I did that from 2012 to 2014, where I did the practicals, applying what I have been learning in class. And then after 2.5 years, I qualified as a navigation officer. So in the maritime industry, you are required to do an oral examination in order to pass and then get your certificate of competency. I did that in May 2014, and I got my certificate of competency and qualified as a navigation officer. So by profession, I'm a navigation officer. The training for me, the cadetship, was a very interesting time, very interesting in a sense that I got to apply and see what I was learning about in class, be on the actual ship, travel a few places that I've traveled, and meet different people. Yet it was a challenging experience in a sense that the working hours were very demanding. We worked 12 hours a day and sometimes 7 days a week, depending on the officers that were on board the ship. Other officers did give the trainees or cadets Sunday off to rest. Other officers didn't. So in that case, we would work 12 hours for 7 days a week. Our shifts were structured in a sense that if you are working a 6 to 12 shift, you are working from 6 a.m. to 12 noon, and you're also working from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. So that's how we got in the 12 hours, and you were resting in between those shifts. Very interesting yet challenging because of that, and also being away from home for months on end. We'd be away for 4 to 6 months at a time and come back home after that long. So that was very challenging for me. I'm a soft person. I enjoy spending time with my family and my loved ones and my friends. So that was challenging for me. But nonetheless, I kept on and I persevered until that time was completed and eventually got my certificate of competency. After that, I decided not to pursue a full-time career on a ship that is in seagoing, as much as that's what I've been pursuing since tertiary. But after that experience, I decided not to anymore because it was just not working for me. I then decided that I will still pursue maritime seagoing, but within the port, because I had no choice and I did not have the luxury to go back to school and do something else, something different. So I was like, okay, I'm in this profession now, I'm now qualified, but what can I do that does not require me to be away from home for months on end? So I decided to then pursue and apply for jobs within the port. I'm still working as an officer, still working on board a ship, but within a port. Luckily, I got that job in December 2014, same year. I got a job as an officer in one of the companies in the maritime industry, private companies, where I was working at the Port of Devon as an officer on a ship, still on a ship, but within the port. And I could go home after the workday. So after 12 hours, we're still working 12 hours. 12-hour shifts. The only difference was that it was now 6 to 6. If we were working day shifts, we're working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And night shifts, we work night shifts as well. And weekends and holidays, we would work. If it's a night shift, we're working from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. the following day. After that, we went home, which was a very big plus for me. At least I got time to relax away from the ship and all the operations at home, and then came back the following day. And we would get days off. So we worked shifts, 4 or 5 days shifts, and then we would get 4 or 5 days on. 4 or 5 days off. So that's how our shifts were structured. There was days on work and days off work. So at least I got to spend time with my family when I'm off, and I got to relax at home. Still very challenging because those 12 hours I felt them completely felt them, but at least I would get some days off. I did that. I worked there as an officer from 2014 in December until May 2021, when we got retrenched from work. So the company was restructuring and we got laid off after COVID. Well, it was still COVID in 2021 and we got laid off in May 2021. During that time, or rather after being retrenched, or just before retrenchment, when we had the news that we are being retrenched, we had that, I think it was around March, April, and they made it official in May 2021. We got the letters and everything. And having been working there for 6.5 years, I was like, this is not the career, or rather the job I want to do for the rest of my life, or until I'm 60 when I reach the retirement age. It was very demanding and very difficult for me to keep up with the demanding environment. So I decided to pursue something else. I decided not to pursue that career or look for jobs elsewhere, still in the maritime industry. So I was like, it's very hard for me to transition to shore-based or management, or get a job in the office still in the maritime industry, because the qualification I had said seagoing and it said working on board. The experience and the qualification I had, so the transition was a little bit difficult for me. So I decided to pursue virtual assistance as an administrator. So after that, I set myself on becoming a virtual assistant, freelancing as a virtual assistant, and that's how I exited the maritime industry into the administrator world. I took on a course to prepare myself and get myself ready, because I was doing this for the first time. As much as we were doing administration, some administration on board, but it was 4 on board, and I was now going to pursue clients, different clients, So I decided to get a course, to enroll myself in a course to get myself ready and prepared for the new career or the new industry I was now stepping into. Took on a course. I did the course from June 2021, and while I was doing that, preparing myself, I decided to become a Toastmaster. So I joined Toastmasters, which is an international non-profit organization that helps people with public speaking, communication, and leadership skills. So that's what Toastmasters does. We have clubs all over the world, and in South Africa as well. We have clubs all over provinces, and in KZN there are clubs. That's where I joined Toastmasters. Our club was a new club, so we were founding members of the club. Each and every club has an executive team that runs the club, and I got offered a role in that executive team. So basically the members of the club, 7 of them or 6 of them, become part of the executive team. They volunteer to be part of the executive team, and they run the club. So I accepted the role. I was like, I'm here to explore myself. The reason why I joined Toastmasters, as much as I needed to improve my communication skills and leadership skills, seeing that I was now, transitioning to a different industry career-wise, the main reason was I wanted to discover myself and explore myself, see what is out there, see what I can do, see what I'm good at and what I need to improve on. Excuse me. So that's the reason why I joined Toastmasters in August 2021, accepted the role of Vice President Education within Umlazi Toastmasters Club. And so I was now doing Toastmasters, volunteering there in the executive committee and pursuing this virtual assistance career. Learning to put myself out there, learning to overcome the fears, the nerves, and all of that. The clients, what kind of clients can I work with? What kind of services can I pursue? What can I use to market myself? The social media platforms and all of that, doing Toastmasters at the same time. That went on for the rest of 2021, discovering myself, learning about myself, exploring myself, obviously connecting with other members of the club as well within Toastmasters, and just trying to figure out how to then move forward with the decisions that I've made. In May 2022, funny how things keep happening in May. It is my birth month, so I'm not sure what's the corrections there. But in May 2022, I started working with a friend of mine who owns and runs a construction company. So he needed somebody to help him with his administration. I did work with him for a bit in May in 2021, before the end of 2021, even though it was very brief, and I needed to get a recommendation, or rather a testimony from somebody that I can use to, sort of have a trail of what I can do and how I can do it. But in May 2022, we started to work together officially. So we worked together and I assisted him, and that went on for about 6 months. Around October, the contract that they had in the construction company came to an end. Before that, in September, we did get a sense that the contract might come to an end. So I started then looking for another client. I needed clients, I needed the income, my savings were running out. So I needed a client as soon as possible so that I can keep getting an income and supporting myself. I am still doing Toastmasters, by the way. In 2022, I am working with him and still playing my role as Vice President Education in my Toastmasters club. So in Toastmasters, we have meetings. So we learn this communication and public speaking skills in a meeting set up where we have role players to structure the meeting and make sure that it runs smoothly, and members then deliver their speeches based on the education program they've chosen in a club setting. So I was, as Vice President of Education, my main roles were organizing meetings, planning them, assigning role players, and making sure that the meeting runs smoothly. Members know their roles and how they play their roles, so sort of guiding and mentoring and coaching them there. So I'm still doing Toastmasters while I now need to look for another client. Came time for me to put myself out there once again, which is a big challenge for me. Putting myself out there is a very big challenge for me. So I was still, trying to tackle that challenge and just getting comfortable with putting and advertising myself. In September 2022, we took on new members in Toastmasters. So as VPE, again, my role is to orientate new members, take them through our Toastmasters websites, education programs, how they can choose education programs, what to consider when choosing one of the education programs. We call them pathways. We have 11 pathways that you can choose from. So, I was orientating them, our meetings. We have these roles in club meetings, and, guiding them when I'm assigning them roles, because they're doing this for the first time. They're new members. So I needed to make sure that they are completely informed and ready and confident and comfortable to do that. So while doing that, at the end of the meetings, I would get feedback from members. At the end of the meeting, we obviously congratulate our members, our speakers, thank them for playing the roles that they played to make sure that the meeting runs smoothly. And there'd be feedback that, I'm so grateful, Slondile helped me with that, and it made me confident and comfortable. And I'm like, okay, I was just doing my job. I was just playing my role. I really didn't expect that to have that much impact, because I'm just playing my role. So I would get that, and in the group we have a WhatsApp group. We would, they would share feedback on there after the orientation that, the orientation was really informative. Slondile was thorough, she was exceptional, and shared all the information with, excellence and all that. I'm like, come on, guys. I appreciate the feedback, because who doesn't like compliments? I love compliments. I appreciate the feedback, but it was so unexpected and just so good to get. It was really fulfilling to see how I was making that kind of impact. I was having that kind of impact on our new members. And as much as I was completely uncomfortable, outside of my comfort zone, having to put myself out there, having to find a client as soon as possible so that I can have an income, as much as all of that was challenging, I did fully dedicate myself to Toastmasters, to my role in Toastmasters. It was voluntary, part-time, and there was no monetary reward. We don't get paid to volunteer in Toastmasters, but I was like, I'm going to do this fully. I'm going to fully immerse myself in it. So it was really great and fulfilling to get that kind of feedback, and I loved it. I fell in love with Toastmasters, with what it does, with what it allowed me to do, to serve like that and explore myself like that and discover myself like that. So I fully dedicated myself in the role of VPE in Toastmasters, fully immersed myself. So everything that I was doing, I was fully present. Even if I was doing it for an hour, because it was not full time, and I still had to make sure that I do other things that I'm committed to, that I need to do. Even if it's just for an hour, I was fully present and dedicated. So that happened September 2022. From September, orientating new members, guiding them, coaching them, mentoring them in their roles, first speeches, second speeches, and all of that. Now the project that we were doing has come to an end in October. October was the last month that we were working there, and November I was not doing anything. So what I was doing is just looking for clients online, looking what I can do while I'm looking for a client. What job can I do quickly so that I can get some money while I look for my next clients. So that was what I was doing, probably the whole day online, searching and searching and searching. And this one time I was on my phone on Google, I don't remember what I was doing. I came across an article with a headline, "How to Stand Out in a Saturated Market." I was like, this article is definitely for me. This is exactly what I need. I need to stand out as soon as possible. I did not have time. I had to stand out as soon as possible. I read through the article. It had 4 points on how you can stand out. One of them was, niching down. It's always there. Niching down is always there. And a point that caught my attention, that grabbed my attention, was the 4th point on how you can use your human design to stand out. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What is human design? And I read through the point that you have a unique energy, a unique makeup that you can use to stand out in the saturated market, or your potential clients and all of that. I was like, this is very interesting. I never came across those points. In all my research that I was doing, I never came across this. In that article, there was a link for you to get your human design charts. So you do get a human design chart. It is sometimes called a biograph, but it's essentially one and the same thing. And I followed that link. That link required me to put in my birth information, date of birth, month of birth, year, place of birth, and time of birth. I got stuck in the time of birth because I know all the other information, but time of birth I didn't know. I never thought to ask for a time of birth because I never needed it, right? So I called my mom, I need my time of birth. What time was I born? I need to get my human design chart so that I can use it, so that I can use my human design to stand out and get clients. Mom was like, I don't remember the exact time you were born, but I remember that you were born on the 5th of May before midnight. I'm like, okay, all right, before midnight. And she was like, all right, let me look for your birth certificate so that I can be sure of the time that you were born. I gave her some time to do that. She couldn't find it, but she did remember that it was before midnight. And I was like, okay, I'll go with 11 p.m. That is before midnight, most. Because she remembered that it was not early in the evening, but it was not the following day either. So it was before midnight. So I went with 11 p.m. to get my human design chart. It gave me a type of projector. And I was like, to be sure that I'm getting the right charts or the right type and all of that, I tried 9 p.m. I got the same human design charts. I tried 10 p.m. because those are the times before midnight. I tried 10 p.m. I got the same chart. I was like, okay, I'm safe. 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m. I get the same charts. So I went with 11 p.m. and I got my charts, and it said I'm a projector. And now I went on a search. What is human design? What does it mean to be a projector? The charts gives you your type, your not self-themes. It gives you your strategy and something else that I've forgotten. And I was like, this is so interesting. All the knowledge that I got on that search connected the dots for me. It made sense. It made me feel seen and understood. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and into how it connected the dots. I will start with my Toastmasters experience, especially towards the end of 2022. A year later now that I was doing Toastmasters. As a projector, our natural gifts and talents are those of guiding, advising, sharing insights, and teaching. So, the feedback that I got from members after guiding them and sharing the Toastmasters education program with them, doing new member orientations, guiding them in their roles and their first speeches and all of that, that feedback and how that made such an impact in them and in their Toastmasters journey and experience made sense, because I was in my natural talent when I was doing that as a projector. So it connected the dots for me. I was like, oh, that made sense. Because I was wondering, guys, I'm just doing my role. I'm just playing my role. And essentially all our excos, we are playing our roles. I'm just playing my role. And it made sense. That connected the dots. And then back into when I was doing my cadetship, my training as training to be a navigation officer, the struggle to keep up with the demanding working environments, the long hour, working days. The reason it made sense why I struggled to keep up or cope in that environment, because as projectors, we don't have enough sustainable energy resources. So we run out of energy pretty fast. And, in environments that required me to work 12 hours, 7 days a week, at some point was definitely going to take a toll on me. It connected all of those dots. It made sense why I struggled to keep up. There were 4 cadets. We were 4 cadets on board. And I felt like the weakest link because I was getting tired faster. I was slower than, my mates. I was slower than my mates. I would do things in a slower pace and compared to my counterparts. And I did get a message from from the captain, through one of the cadets, the lady cadets that we were with, that, there complaints from, a deck, complaints from officers, complaints from bosun that I'm just not, keeping up. It made sense. That connected the dots for me in that environment. Even when I was now working as an officer within a port, fine, I was at least getting some days off and going home after, every work day. But I was still struggling to keep up. By the time my shifts come to an end, I am super exhausted. We would get phone calls when we were off from our HR officer to come and work for somebody else. So there was that working overtime when you are called to. And I did get a complaint a few years later while working there from our HR officer that I do not work overtimes. And those complaints were coming from, our mates, my colleagues, that I do not work overtimes. Whenever I'm called to come and work, I'm just not available. And I was like, that's true. That is true, because I'm so exhausted. My time of work, I need to rest. I need every little bit of it to rest and prepare myself for the next shift. The only times I was working overtimes was when it was arranged, when I did arrange with somebody that, hey, I need to take leave for 2 days. Can I work 2 days for you so that, you can come and work 2 days for me? So that way it is balanced. If I work 2 days for you, I'm still taking 2 days leave, and then I can use that to rest, essentially. So that was the only time that I worked overtime. And there was complaints, and that made sense. It connected those dots for me. Even after, when we were getting retrenched, the decision to not pursue the navigation officer career in the maritime industry anymore made sense. I just did not see myself working in that environment for a long time. 6.5 years is a long time already. So even longer than that, I just did not see myself thriving in that environment. Obviously, you persevere, you work, you become resilient, you push yourself, but I did not see myself thriving. So it made sense for me in that way, knowing my human design as a projector, understanding all of these complexities of myself as a projector in human design made sense for me. It made me feel seen and understood. It connected the dots for me, which gave me such a huge relief. Such a relief that it's not because, I was lazy. I was just in an environment where I'm not designed to thrive in or to keep up in compared to my counterparts. And that gave me such a relief. This is now December. This is now November into December 2022, which was last year. And by now I've hit rock bottom. I don't have any means of income. I'm not getting any income. I'm stressed, super, super stressed. But there's this just relief, that relief of understanding my human design and understanding how things were happening all along. In December, my Wi-Fi got cut because I didn't have money to pay for Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi got cut, and that meant I now don't have the luxury to be in my laptop all day, looking for work to do in the meantime while I look for another client. I did not have that time, and quite frankly, I was burnt out. We took a break from Toastmasters. In December, we take a break, from Toastmasters for people to relax and all of that. So I was now not doing a lot of things as much as I was doing before. I could not connect to YouTube anymore. I could not, watch Netflix like I used to anymore. And I used that time to read about my human design, to just know and understand and fully understand myself as a projector. So I went on a search, I went on YouTube, I watched videos, I would download videos so that I can watch offline, with the data that I managed to buy. And I started reading as well. I had a book that I had bought beginning of the year that I hadn't read. I tried reading, but I just, wasn't connecting with it. So I started reading that book, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I had now all the time. I was stopped, I slowed down. And half of December, I spent it reading a lot, immersing myself and just getting to know this new knowledge, this newfound knowledge that I found of human design. And every time I come across new knowledge of human design, and I'm like, and it hits the spot. Every time it hits the spot, it connects the dots. It made me feel like I can finally breathe. I'm in the midst of a storm. I am literally, in the trenches, but I could finally breathe. And each time I would be like, everybody, at the very least, need to know their human design. What you do with it is totally up to you, but we all need to know our human design. So I read the book into January, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, and it got to a part where he was talking about personalities, different personalities. There's a leader, a creator, there is a guide. And immediately before I read all the personalities, I knew that my personality would have to do with being a guide. And I fell into the personality of being a guide, because as a guide, you mentor, you coach, you teach, you share knowledge, you share insights, advices, and all of that. And that made sense because I now knew my human design, that naturally we are guides. We're here to guide, to advise, to share insights and share knowledge. So that also affirmed, my natural gifts of sharing knowledge. So combining that with this transformative, mind-blowing knowledge that I found of human design, I then decided to come up with the Human Design Platform, where I share this transformative knowledge of human design with everybody, whoever resonates with it can find it in the Human Design Platform. So that's how the platform came about. It started as an idea in January of 2023 this year, and in June 2023 I actually took steps to make it a reality, got a logo, website, and all of that, and started sharing blog articles, started sharing this knowledge in the form of blog articles, and now the podcast. So that's how the Human Design Platform came about. And the main aim of the platform is to share this transformative knowledge of human design. It is for people, it is to be a place for people to come and explore the human design concept and how they can use it as a self-awareness tool and a self-introspection tool, to understand themselves, to find their unique blueprint to personal alignment, how they can use it to make aligned decisions, to improve relationships, to tap into their life purpose by knowing their natural gifts, to navigate life with ease. So basically, that's the main aim of the Human Design Platform. It is to generally share this, it is to essentially share this knowledge and how we can use it to thrive. That's the reason why we have the Human Design Platform, and that's the reason why we came up with the Human Design. I came up with the Human Design Platform. So there it is, a little bit of insight into the human behind the Human Design Platform, which is Slondile Tshabalala, and how the platform came about. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching up to this part. If this resonates with you, if using the tool as using the human design knowledge as a self-awareness tool, self-introspection, finding your unique blueprint to personal alignment, making aligned decision, improving relationships, navigating life with ease, tapping into our life purpose. If you resonate with any of those, consider becoming part of the family by clicking the red subscribe button and turning on your notifications so that you know every time we publish an episode. And share your comments with us, your thoughts on the system. Have you heard about it before? How did it make you feel, and all of that? Please feel free to share your opinions and your comments in the comment section. That's it on the first episode. Stay tuned for the second episode, where we get into the human design system. We get to know, we share deeper knowledge and information and details on the human design system, what it is and how we can use it, and what it can uncover for us. All of that in the second episode. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you very soon.